Hello and welcome to Cannabis Marketing Live, all puff, no fluff. I am your host, Kendra Losi with Moda Marketing, and I am really excited about today's episode. We have a Bryan Buckley here, the CEO and president of Helmand Valley Growers Company, and has a veteran-owned business, and he is here to talk about his company, get an update from the last time he was here. He's here to talk about insights from being a veteran-owned company and where they are taking their company with all of the research and projects that they're working on. So I'm really excited to have Bryan here. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. Those of you guys that have not had a chance to watch Bryan's very popular episode, he was here in 2019, early mid
That's
2019.
correct.
Yeah, and he was talking about getting ready. You guys were getting ready to launch some of your product lines, and talking about the impact you're making on veterans and cannabis research. So, thank you for coming back to follow that up. I love getting the updates for sure.
Oh, too easy.
Absolutely. So, can you tell us a little bit, for those of you that did not watch Bryan's episode, go back and watch it. It's really good. Bryan, can you tell us a little bit about your background and Helmand Valley Growers Company?
Absolutely. So, spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps. Spent time in the infantry, Marine reconnaissance, and then a majority of my career as a Marine Raider, which is the Marine Special Operations component that goes into Special Operations Command. And then once I transitioned out, I really started noticing what was going on with the veteran community. I myself am as a 100% disabled veteran, and we started looking at how we could really help out, and we started our nonprofit organization called Bowder Brothers Foundation, where we help out on a three-tier approach of a personal, medical, and economic. So personal side is more of like a big brother, big sister network. Medical, we do VA disability claims along with if a veteran is suffering with alcoholism or opiate abuse or post-traumatic stress or all the above, we're able to get them into a treatment facility and just kind of let them take a knee for a little bit and get themselves right and then get back out into the fight. We also do medical cannabis research, and then the last part of that was the economic, where we help veterans find jobs so they have a sense of purpose like they did while serving in the military, and hopefully we can help them avoid making a mistake they can't come back from. And from there, we really started looking deep into the medical cannabis research. And we looked at just ways of how we could do this. We had some opportunities to meet with some members of Congress, and they said, listen, if you guys are able to get some data and have American doctors back it up, you guys are going to have a really good argument. So through that, we've partnered with a firm called Medic out of Israel. And we've brought in a couple of American doctors out of UC Irvine, where our study will take place. And currently, our study is in the final phase with the Institutional Review Board, or an IRB, which means that we have been approved for human trials. And the study will be going after the symptoms of post-traumatic stress utilizing medical cannabis. And we launched our what we called our for-purpose company,
Mm-hmm.
Helmand Valley Growers Company. And that way we're out into the California recreational market. And 100% of our profits goes back to our veteran medical cannabis research. And our first study design was upwards around $50,000. And that was paid for by all the profits that we received from the cannabis community buying Helmand Valley Growers products. So it's a real great way for us to do a call to arms and have everyone support what we're doing. And we truly believe veterans will be the ones who can really push us across the goal line and make medical cannabis federally legal.
I love this, and I love so many different pieces of it. And one of the reasons why I keep inviting Bryan back anytime, open invitation, is because I truly believe in what his company is doing. Having a father who is a disabled veteran from Vietnam, I know firsthand what the effects of PTSD are, not just on the person, but on their family, their friends, their whole community environment. And anything we can do to help out veterans is so critical, not just for the cannabis industry, but as a country. Absolutely, we need that. So I love hearing the work you're doing and the research that you guys have planned and that are working on. I have so many questions about breaking down what you breaking down what you just said. Last time we talked, you were getting ready to launch the HVGC line, I believe.
That's
and
correct.
launching the products. So are they available? Can you talk a little bit about the products and where they're available in California? So if someone wanted to
For
purchase
sure.
some to support.
Yeah, no, and we love that. So kind of funny that we're doing this today. Today marks our 1 year anniversary of our first sale in California, which was at a Golden Bloom dispensary down here in San Diego. And we started off just with three distillate vape pens. Really, everything we picked was what we received feedback from veterans, what has worked for them to help cope with their post traumatic stress. And then we kind of keep expanding from there. We moved into one-to-ones. And now we're really excited to announce we're about to launch next week our live resin sauce along with our pre-rolls. And we're going to keep expanding out from there. And we're about to have a micro business up in Lake Elsinore. So it'll be a
Oh,
cultivation and dispensary. And that should be ready to go by end of Q2.
fantastic. And can people buy primarily in Southern California? Is there locations in Northern California that carry it? Is it on your website?
Absolutely, yeah. So thank you for the plug. Yeah, absolutely. Check out our website, and you can see where to find us. But yeah, primarily we're in Southern California, out in the desert, and we do have some shops up in Northern California, along with some delivery services. So we're continuing to expand. We're bringing on more sales reps, and just doing what every other small business does is reinvest back in the company, reinvest in talent, and continue to expand. And we're really excited to see where 2021 takes us.
I love it. Hopefully it's in a different direction than 2020.
Well, yeah.
So when we talk about, so your company is founded, and I love the different areas that you're focusing on. Um, I'm dying to ask you about the research, but we'll get there in a minute. So, how have you found in the past 2 years? How have you found the cannabis industry in California has been changing? What changes have you noticed from where you're sitting as a veteran-owned business?
Well, I mean, some of the positive sides we're seeing is even though what we had in California was what they call Prop 64, which was voted in 2016, so that was our adult use. Um, but just because the state passed it didn't mean that every municipality adopted that. But now we're starting to see more municipalities bring in cannabis into their communities, and they're seeing the benefit side of that, of what they can get from the tax revenues and how it can help out with schools and infrastructure and things of that nature. You're definitely seeing, I think, a little bit, brands are still expanding, but you're also kind of seeing a consolidation, I think, where people are kind of buying each other up. And what is really great is I think every year you're starting to see who the pretenders are and who the contenders are.
Yeah,
And, with us at first, I think we had a lot of skepticism towards us, which I can't blame them. It really seems like kind of like a pie in the sky type of ambition we have. But I can promise you, hear me now, believe me later, we're the real deal, especially when you guys see that institutional review board get pushed. We're working with our PR team and everything, and we want to start pushing this on a national level. And that's just just an amazing support again from the California cannabis community and everyone abroad outside of California who's really taken to us and has really supported everything we're doing. It's just been tremendous and such a welcoming community. It's really a pleasure to be part of.
absolutely. Those of you that are watching, if you have any questions for Bryan, I'm going to be asking a million questions of him. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments because I want to make sure that you get your questions answered. Bryan, when you're talking about the pretenders versus the real companies, I think that part of that is really important, and something that you guys do that sets you apart is that you're very mission driven, and it's not just a mission driven to check a box, but it's by being a veteran and trying to help other veterans. I think it's just inherent to the company, and it sounds like that your values reach all of the different corners of your company. Can you talk a little bit about how you did that and why you guys set it up this way?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We just kind of were doing what Marines typically do, and we like to leave places better than we find it. And, I think just through I was talking to a really, outstanding business person, and he was describing what we have and what we were doing, and he's like, listen, people spend millions of dollars trying to develop a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and I know you guys weren't running around the Helmand province thinking, hey, one day we're gonna have a really cool cannabis company. But he's like, everything you guys are doing, your backstory to your logo and the passion you guys have, he's like, it resonates with people. And he's like, it's really kind of lights out, where we didn't really think much of it. We just thought, hey, this is just the right thing to do, and this is why we're doing it. So that has really, taken charge here, and I think as people get to know us more, I mean, we're a company with a soul.
Mhm.
We're not, just people who are out there just trying to make hit the green rush and make a quick buck. We really want to solve a problem. I mean, we clearly we identified it. Now we're going to put forward solutions that we feel very confident are going to prove correct, and it's going to change the medical landscape here in America.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think that I don't know if people really fully understand the impact of PTSD and for vets. Can you talk a little bit about the impact and just how far reaching that is?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, myself, I've been diagnosed with 100% post-traumatic stress through the VA. It's just like anything else. It is something, I guess you could say it's a demon. I'm one who believes you never really exercise your demons. You just gotta have to learn to live above them. And what I really kind of feel bad for is, with the families and people that are friends who maybe are dealing with a veteran who's really struggling with post-traumatic stress, and you really don't know what can you do to help. And it really is kind of relatively new that we here in America have kind of accepted or
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed post-traumatic stress. I mean, before the veterans coming back from Vietnam and before then was just more of a shell shock, and it was just something they'll just kind of have to get over. And that's not really the case. Um, but I think what's been great is people, as a culture in America, we've accepted it and we've embraced it. We understand there's something we have to do, and that's where I think people are becoming very open-minded. Just not on the cannabis side, but if you even look at what's going on with the psychedelic side and things
Yeah.
that John Hopkins are doing, there's some really incredible things out there, and there's so much untapped potential with things that Mother Earth gives us, that I think it's just really exciting. That we might be able to solve some problems with some great American heroes without using opiates and all the other prescriptions that they're given at this time.
And I think that because right now the VA cannot prescribe cannabis, just to reiterate that, correct?
Yes,
So people
absolutely
are
correct.
left with opioids, they're left with alcohol, whatever
Yeah.
denial, whatever impact, um, whatever options there are. I know that because I teach marketing and social media at a couple universities here, and one of them has a lot of veterans and military students, and I've had more than one student come up to talk to me about cannabis just because they were struggling or it helped them. But it's all word of mouth. It's not, there's no research behind that, and there's no structured way to help change those minds to be able to get cannabis in a medicinal way in their hands. So, can you talk a little bit about how you're doing that? And I know it goes into the research that you're doing, but I think it's just really, really important. I want to make sure that we spend a little time on this because of the impact that it can
Yeah,
have.
that's a great question. So what probably a lot of people don't realize is right now cannabis is a Schedule One narcotic in the United States of America, which means it's above like cocaine and it's up there with like heroin and LSD and stuff. I mean, it really got caught up in the drug war. And this is back in the 70s with the Nixon administration when they declared it a Schedule One. So that has really just put a halt to pretty much every type of research that you can do, unless you work with what they call the NIDA program, which is the National Institute of Drug Abuse, which is ran out of the University of Mississippi. But even if you're not a cultivator, you really don't know what cannabis is, you can look at some of those plants and say that doesn't look right. I mean, the THC content is extremely low. I'm not sure how they do on feedback with the studies that they do. A lot of times it's done with academia or institutional. What is unique about our research is we'll be one of the first ones in North America to ever receive a private IRB. So it is our own IRB. We do not have to have a DEA license. We are not working with NIDA. We are literally going to be using Helmand Valley Growers Company product. And from there, working with our partners, Niomedic, we'll refine the genetics and make what works and what's most effective for the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. So that's what makes ours really exciting and very interesting. And like,
Yeah.
recently we just had UC Irvine say, we would like to be a part of this. And that's something pretty outstanding that I even think last year that would not have been a possibility.
Um, do you think the new administration's helping in that regard?
I think it's a little bit early to tell. I mean, you
What?
do
It's
have a
day.
vice president, yeah,
It's like
but
day
you have a vice
12.
president who was part of the MORE Act. She was a co-sponsor, so we've never had someone that high up in the executive branch. What I have been told is we're not part of their first 100-day agenda.
Right.
So time will tell. I mean, I think the genie's way out of the bottle. I think it's both Democrats and Republicans are starting to see the way. Clearly, Republicans are a little bit behind Democrats. But, I'm not going to sit here and point at Dems or ours. I mean, I think
Right.
being good stewards, we have to provide them the ammunition that they need. And that's why we're real excited about our possibilities of something brand new coming at them with the data, with American doctors, and saying, bang, here it is. Let's get on with it.
And it's not that there's anything wrong with the average person, but it's not the average person that you're doing this research for, right?
Yes,
It's the people that actually have helped keep the rest of us safe. And I think that's really
absolutely.
important to highlight that. Um, what what else can you tell us about the research that you're doing?
I can't wait. Once it is approved, we can actually share it. So it's kind of in a quiet period, but it's gonna be something really exciting. We're putting a lot of infrastructure behind it. Really what we want to do here in California is we're going to really find out what genetics are working. We'll start with a 60-person study of vets here in California. We'll advance into a 200-person. And then probably later this year, we're going to start moving Helmand Valley Growers Company into the state of Michigan. And we'll start our recreational sales out there as well. But that would be our third and final study, would be a retrospective IRB out in Michigan using the same genetics, same procedures we've done here in California,
Mm-hmm.
and just validated that there is little to no deviation. It works. And then that's when I think we're ready to step in front of Congress and raise our right hands and say, here's the data, here's your American doctors, let's get on. And hopefully we make it into the VA at that point.
Hopefully. How long is that process? I'm picturing years.
This will probably take about 3 years, I think, to get through all the studies. I mean, there's a lot of not everyone's going to be eligible, and you have to kind of go through all that stuff.
Right.
And clearly, like any type of testing, not everyone's going to follow through. And for example, our first study will be about 90 days. So hopefully, we can get everyone to stick through. But just human nature, got to anticipate it's just not going to work as seamless as we would like it to be. But I just think again, not only us being people who are putting on the research and being the sponsors for it, but I also look at the veterans who are going to participate, and we're going to stress to them the importance of what they're doing. It's
Absolutely.
like putting on your camis for the first time and stepping out across the line of departure. You're going where not many people have gone, and it's one team, one fight.
And the amount of people that it can help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I've mentioned this before, but when I went with my dad to the VA to get him signed up for his disability, because Vietnam, they didn't think about that or want anything to do with the government until about 10 years ago. I was just shocked by the room in Monterey that was packed with veterans that needed medical and psychological help. And just that one snapshot of that one day, knowing how many people go through that room, because that was the morning meeting, and then there's afternoon and 5 days a week, and there's just the number of people that this can impact and the number of people who really need help and can be helped. I would hope that people would carry through with it, just because the research results are just gonna, they have the potential to help so many people and make such a big difference.
You're absolutely right. And, we've talked with members of the VA, and they're extremely supportive. I think the VA is great. I use the VA medical system. My family does as well. And, I just think they're doing the best they can with what they have. And they will be some of the first ones to admit, we need to do more. We need more stuff. But again, they're a federal agency, and they're tied to a Schedule 1. So, that might be something hopefully this administration and this Congress can do is, move it to a Schedule 3 status, and we can kind of open up the research more and, really kind of move this thing along a little bit more quick, because I just really believe the American people are ready for it. We just got to get the numbers and the data and prove it to the legislators, and I think it's going to be a really amazing thing for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And once again, I have a fully vested interest in this, because more than once over the holidays, I have threatened to leave edibles out for my dad to just calm down.
Yep. Yep.
Calm down. Don't be angry. And it's just the amount of people that it impacts. I know I keep saying that. Um, can you talk a little bit about your nonprofit and what you guys are doing
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we totally feel that, in Battle Brothers and in Helmand Valley, we want to do a holistic approach. I'm never going to sit and tell every veteran, what's going to solve your problems, cannabis.
Right.
I mean, it just needs to be a tool in the toolkit that if it makes sense, it should be available to them. But really, we tailor Battle Brothers Foundation, as I mentioned, the three-tier approach. Well, it doesn't mean you have to start at the very first day you left the military and we kind of go through there. I've had friends call me up and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," or friends like, "Listen, I don't really feel happy with my VA disability rating. Can you help us out with that?"
Mm-hmm.
We'll bring in some for the medical cannabis research. But what's really great about Battle Brothers is everyone who goes through will then become a member of Battle Brothers as an ambassador, and they pay it forward. So they can literally sit there and tell the veteran that they're working with, "Hey, I've been there where you are. It's going to be okay. Look at me." So it's been really great. We're going to have some really exciting news. We got a couple of, very big corporation that's ready to get behind us.
Okay.
And we're just going to take this into the next level and bring some more people into it. And with everything, with every business you do, especially with nonprofits, you really need to build up that community inside your own neighborhood. So we've been focusing on the San Diego region. But I've been able to work with some great organizations, some great think tanks that I was mentioned to you before the show, like the Veterans Action Council, where it's a group of veterans all throughout the country. We meet on Thursday nights. Fridays we'll do stuff on Facebook Live and on YouTube where we'll talk about some of the hard questions and try to answer them. Actually, this week we're going to do one kind of to one of your earlier questions is, if we had an opportunity to meet with President Biden and Vice President Harris, what would we ask them? So it's really great, and I think it's just a great way of us kind of sharing stories, finding out what's going on a national and international level. And I'm just truly blessed to be a part of that group and just making some great friends. And, something like this takes a village. And it's definitely just great to be around like-minded individuals who are just mission-oriented, really don't care about, the politics or all that stuff that we can kind of get wrapped up to into society. It's just more about what can we do to help out our American heroes.
So, is that open for anybody? Can anyone jump in and listen, or is that like a limited invite kind of thing?
Oh, absolutely. On the Friday calls that we do, it was a Facebook Live and everything, so I'll make sure I push that out. But that's
Okay.
open to the public because we definitely do. I mean, I didn't finish one of my earlier thoughts. I was thinking about, in terms of what the families have to deal with when they are having someone with post-traumatic stress. And I mean, you know this with your father, and God bless my wife. She's a saint for dealing with me on many levels, but especially my post-traumatic stress. But I think it's really important too that we can, potentially be there for some family members if they have questions about, hey, this person, or I'm seeing this, or what can we do and how can we help? That's the great thing about the Veterans Action Council is it's just a council of equals, and we all have certain talents. And if someone can do something a little bit better, we push them that direction. And we just, again, at the end of the day, it's, I always go to bed thinking, what have I done for a veteran today? And that's kind of essentially the motto of the Veterans Action Council.
There's so much power in that because there wasn't any information or resources for such a long time that
Mm-hmm.
that now being able to have that and people like yourself who are very active in it. I know I thank you, but I think a lot of other family members as well would feel the same way for sure. Because it's
Yeah.
hard to see people that you care about having that level of pain that can't. There's nothing that can be done except for some of these other
Yeah.
options. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to, like I said, I have so many questions for you, and I don't want to trying to keep them focused. Is there anything that so we have several people watching. Thanks guys for being here.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish more people knew when it comes to veterans, when it comes to the cannabis industry? I know it's kind of a broad question, but let's use the platform.
Yeah, that is that's a tough question. I think maybe I could speak from my own personal experience. I know people, are really quick, and I understandably so, to always thank a veteran for their service. And a lot of people I'm around and veterans, I mean, it's not, no one's grateful for it. I think a lot of us just felt it was our duty.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, on the first show, I talked to you about what I experienced during 9/11 playing football at University of Massachusetts, and went into the bathroom, just kind of looked at myself and said, it's time for me to go earn my citizenship. And that's when I just finished out the year and transferred to Villanova and went from 235 to 185 and off into the Marine Corps I went. And I was always very thankful for the opportunities that the military provided me. I mean, I got to serve with I got to serve with my heroes, in the infantry and in the reconnaissance, and then having the ability to be a team commander in special operations. That's truly a blessing. But I think now what I would say as a veteran is, people need to be open-minded. Get away from kind of stigma of what cannabis is or what people thought it was, and it was this crazy kind of drug that just made you lose your mind and everything. That couldn't be farther from the truth. My life totally changed when I started using medical cannabis at nighttime for sleep, and it just slows everything down, kind of makes me a little bit just more comfortable, and I just feel better about myself, and it has helped out with my post-traumatic stress tremendously. And I know, talking with other fellow veterans, they feel the same way. So I just want people to be like, hey, don't hear cannabis and think, oh my goodness, the devil's lettuce and all this crazy propaganda you've heard before. Keep an open mind. I mean, we can kind of keep going the same route of opiates, and hopefully it works, but we kind of seen those results with our veteran suicide rate. I think this is going to be a new frontier. And I believe one time even Newt Gingrich said, he goes, if a doctor walked into the Amazon and came back out with a cannabis plant, we'd be giving them Nobel Prizes left and right, because there's so much untapped potential with that plant.
I can't believe it. I didn't hear that quote.
Yeah. I heard like 2 years ago. I almost fell on my chair, but I'm like, hey, there you go.
I think I first heard the devil's lettuce as a term not that long ago, and I was dying. It makes me laugh every time, so I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of your very serious comment.
No. I think it's a great phrase. The first time I really laughed when I heard it was a guy who played for the Philadelphia Eagles, Chris Long. The day he retired, the next day on Twitter, he just put out there, he goes, hey, I just want to let everyone know during my entire career I used cannabis. He goes, that's right, the devil's lettuce. But he's like, what would you want us to do? We're football players. We're getting banged up. Do we just drink our pain away, or do we just use some medical cannabis that kind of takes the edge off, loosens up the joints, and helps us sleep, and more importantly, recover? Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of eye-opening. Like, listen, this guy won a Walter Payton Award. He was an all-pro. He was an amazing football player. Cannabis didn't really hurt him or make him into a lazy person. So something to think about.
And if it held him back, like he did pretty well.
Yeah, he did all right for himself.
Yeah, it's not like it held him back far if it did.
No, not at all.
No, and one more thing I wanted to. So I usually do a speed round. So okay. We're going to ask you just a couple questions. Are you ready?
Let's go.
What are your favorite cannabis products? Or strains?
Well, anything Helmand Valley Growers Company, naturally. No, I really have truly fallen in love with live resin sauce. I tried one time I was up in Sacramento. I was in a store. They're like, Bryan, you got to try this. And I just fell in love with it. It's not high on THC, nothing crazy like that, but it just gives your body such a good feeling, such a great sleep. And that's one of the benefits of running your own cannabis company. You can make the things that you like. So that is my go-to right now, is live resin sauce.
I've been reading a lot about it lately. I think I need to try it. I try not to avoid, because I almost drowned doing an outrigger practice from Oceanside to Mission Bay. So my lungs are not great.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid smoke, but I keep hearing amazing things about live resin sauce that I might need to make a couple exceptions there. Okay, second question. Are there any resources, podcasts, books, any place that you think people should go to get more information about cannabis or veterans? I'll open it up a little more.
Well, yeah, I mentioned already the Veterans Action Council. So if you are a veteran, reach out. You can find our website at veteransactioncouncil.com. I have the great honor of being on a podcast called PV Unfiltered every now and then, and we've had some really tremendous guests. We actually had a 12-year NFL veteran on there who, he too used cannabis his entire career, and he said like 70% of my friends in the NFL did as well. And it's a really great podcast theme of like what brought you to cannabis, and you just see all different walks of life, and very successful business people, athletes, people who've been in the cannabis community for a long time, actors, everything like that. But it kind of, to me, takes away that cloak of it's just your typical stoner are the only ones who use cannabis. No, these are some amazing professionals who use it, versus having a couple martinis every night. They might just have half a joint. And it's just really interesting. So that there, and then keep following us at Helmand Valley Growers Company. We're a very transparent organization. We are going to share what we're doing, even as our research happens. We're going to use a couple of veterans and kind of follow their journey through their 3-month study with us, and kind of see the change and effects it's had on them. And as we start gaining more data, we are going to start putting out an adaptive learning platform that veterans or anyone from across the country can jump on and kind of learn a little bit more about what they're doing and what we're doing, and just educate themselves more. But there's a lot of great resources, and every day I think more and more things come out, because again, I think this is just a great big snowball that is gaining a ton of momentum, and it's going to be pretty incredible here in the next couple of years.
It really is. My last question is where can people find you? So I have your information below. You just plugged it too. So if you guys want to follow Bryan and learn more about the products, the company, their mission, and what they're doing to help make our world a better place, please check them out. Thank you, Bryan. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate it.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And look forward to coming back.
I can't wait to hear about how the research goes. All right.
You got it.
Thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your day.